Madeleine McCann and the other kids involved. But there have been suggestions that mobile phone experts could actually help in the search for Madeleine McCann. But how can they use mobile phone signals to track down callers of interest to them? Well, the process is called mobile phone triangulation. That's because 3 mobile phone towers are used to narrow down the actual location of a caller. The information from the first tower gives only a general idea of where the caller could be. The signal from the second tower narrows down the caller's potential locations to 2 points. Finally, the signal from a third tower is used to actually pinpoint the caller's precise location. In built-up areas where mobile phone towers are stacked fairly close together, this location can be narrowed to an area as small as a few square yards. However, in rural areas where the masts are further apart, the location given is rather less accurate. This could be the case in Praia de Luz, where Madeleine disappeared, of course. Well, here to explain a little more about this is Jonathan Cook from tracermobile.com. And Jonathan, the science, as we explained it there, sounds pretty simple. Is it really as simple as that?
It is actually, yes. I mean, if you think of the principle when you see a thunderstorm, you're trying to work out the distance, you count how long before the clap of thunder. It's basically counting the time delay between the mobile signal arriving at the phone mast. So it is based on the same technology as literally tracking where a radio signal is coming from.
Right. I mean, we're saying there that chances are on the Algarve, I mean, lots of holidaymakers go there, they want to stay in touch with people at home, they'll use mobile phones. Of course, the charges are often quite high, so the incentive's to have lots of masts there, isn't it? Do you have any sense of how thicketed with masts, with mobile masts, that area is likely to be?
I wouldn't know the exact details of that particular area, but it would. I mean, your assumption would be correct. Obviously, you need a lot of masts in a densely populated area. There are other factors that affect it: the terrain, how hilly it is, even the weather can actually play a small role in that. But
the sort of expertise that we're talking about, is this something that will be deployed by the police? Is it something private individuals, private detectives could do? Who can actually carry out this work?
Well, there's a couple of key differences. In England, the networks have allowed companies like ourselves to do it, and obviously we have the permission of the people that are involved. In different countries that's not necessarily the case, but they use the same technology. They would just use the police and various authorities to actually go behind the scenes and track out the records. So it wouldn't be commercially available. But
because, I mean, let's be clear about this. When you buy a mobile phone, not many of us actually look at the small print, but presumably there'll be something in there about confidentiality, and you as a customer are entitled to be fairly sure somebody's not monitoring your movements through your mobile.
Absolutely, and we're very strictly sort of governed by what we do in the UK, and we have strict guidelines about making sure people are given permission before they do that. But obviously in circumstances like this, the police have the powers to override some of those things where it's felt to be absolutely essential.
In this instance, obviously, there's no suggestion that Madeleine had a mobile phone, but the suggestion perhaps is that those individuals of interest to the police, perhaps their alibis could be checked, their movements could be checked using their mobile phone records. But there must be instances where criminals perhaps have been caught, but also people who've just disappeared, for instance, in a snowstorm, or that sort of thing have actually been helped.
Yeah.
Just give us a sense of how important this has been in helping people.
Yeah, and obviously it's used by the emergency services. They allow you to sort of trace someone if you've sort of just suddenly wandered out and got lost. People like Alzheimer's carry them around, elderly people we recommend, and young children can have them as well, as long as the parents are given consent. So there are a lot of practical uses for it, and it has, brings a lot of benefits.
Okay, Jonathan Cook from tracermobile.com, thanks so much indeed for coming in. Thank you.
This is Sky.